All right, what's up, Dragon Brood? Today we've got day 3 of the previews for Phyrexia. All will be one. And the last couple of days have been pretty strong, so I'm hoping today there's some cool stuff to talk about. And as always, this is going to be my initial reactions. I have not looked at these before I've looked at them with you, so we're going to dive right in together. Let's go. All right, this is one that has a translation on here. It's called Veil of Assimilation. It's a colorless and a white. Looks like it's a white artifact. And whenever this or another artifact enters the battlefield under your control, target creature you control gets +1/+1 and vigilance until end of turn. This is actually pretty cool considering how many things are artifacts now, or how many things make artifact tokens. You could actually have a bunch of stuff get bonuses and get vigilance, which could be really cool. There's also weird things too, like the blue-red creature, the 2/1 that when you play a spell makes a creature. The creature that comes into play is actually an artifact, so something like that. Iconoclast, I think it is. That type of card could actually work with this as well. So there's a few different things. Now, I don't think it's going to be hugely powerful, but if you're already playing a deck where maybe you're playing the green-white card, that when a creature or an artifact comes into play, a creature gets +1/+1. Like that whole thing, allowing you to get even extra bonuses on top of it. This could be a pretty cool piece for something like that. And as I say that, here's another artifact. The card I was thinking of was Yoshin Dissident, by the way, from the previous set. Okay, so Infested Flesh Cutter, colorless and a white, artifact equipment. Creature gets +2/+0. Whenever equipped creature attacks, create a 1/1 colorless Phyrexian Might artifact creature token with toxic, and this creature can't block. Equip cost is 2 colorless and a white. So this is actually fine, right? It's not an insane equip cost, so it's reasonable. You attack, you get a creature. Though the creature can't block, it does have toxic, so it's something. So if you're playing a toxic deck, if you're playing an artifact deck, some aggressive decks that can make use of artifacts probably also can use this. I don't think it's a stud by any chance, but this is reasonable if you're going to put 1 or 2 into a deck and supplement another strategy that it already goes along with. Cacophony Scamp, 1 red, 1/1. When this deals combat damage to a player, you may sacrifice it. If you do, proliferate. When this dies, it deals damage equal to its power to any target. This is actually kind of sweet, partly because I feel like we've seen a couple of different goblins already so far, and goblins still had some options available to it, but not a lot in standard right now. So this could be a possible thing. Don't really know, but I like it. I like where it sits. It also is a warrior in case that comes up for some decks and other formats. It's only 1 mana, which is nice. If it deals damage, you sacrifice it, you can proliferate. So if you want to add toxic or add +1/+1s to stuff or whatever, that's a big deal. Or maybe this thing's even getting equipment or whatever, so you're getting it to a 3 power, 4 power. Then when it dies, you just get to take something out because it's to any target. So that's also nice too. All right, we have the Filigree Silex, which is interesting because I guess Silexes have become the themed explosive item. I don't know why a Silex, but it is what it is. So the Filigree Silex is 2 colorless, which puts it on par with being the cheapest ones, I guess. Legendary artifact. You can tap it, put an oil counter on Filigree Silex. You can tap it and sacrifice the Silex, destroy each non-land permanent with mana value equal to the number of oil counters on Filigree Silex. Or you can tap it and remove 10 oil counters from among permanents you control. Sacrifice the Silex, it deals 10 damage to any target. Oh man, there's a lot to unpack here. All right, so this can just put oil counters on itself. If you have anything that cares about oil counters, that's important. You can also, I guess, this is kind of like a better Ratchet Bomb. Where not only are you ticking it up to eventually blow it up, it actually has another ability that it cares about oil counters on other cards as well. So it's Ratchet Bomb plus, I guess, unless I'm misremembering. I don't know. I'll have to look this up later. I'm kind of speaking off the cuff here. But either way, you can put this into play and just destroy tokens because it would have 0 oil counters, and then you destroy all creatures with 0. So that's actually pretty neat. And it is mana value, not power or anything like that. So that does make a difference here. So that is a bit different than some other cards. But being able to just blast somebody for 10 damage, also pretty good if the rest of the deck is already built around oil counters. So I don't know what all this card's going to do, but it will get played somewhere, I'm pretty certain. All right, we have Tyrannosaurus Rex. 4 green, green, green. So that's 7 mana for a Phyrexian dinosaur. So a new dinosaur. This can't be countered. Wow. It has Trample, Ward 4, Geez, and Haste, and Toxic 4. And it's an 8/8. What the hell? Now, admittedly, 7's a lot of mana. But for 7, you get an 8/8 that your opponent can't counter. They need 4 extra mana to target it, to kill it with Ward. It has Trample, and it has Haste. So you're going to get to attack with it at least once, most likely. And it has Toxic 4. So if it connects, it's going to deal 4 poison as well. Like, this is a silly card. This is truly a silly card. I don't know how to rate this one. Like, it's, on the one hand, it's a big body. It has all the right words you want it to have, right? It's Ward to protect itself. It's Tramples, so it goes through for damage. It's got Haste. It can't be countered. That's awesome. Even especially for an 8/8. At that cost, it is 7, 3 of which is green. So you're not easily splashing this into stuff. This could be a great reanimator target. That's awesome. There's a lot of green decks, though, that do ramp up to stuff like this, which could be pretty powerful. Where does this fit? I don't know. Even if you played it, how many would you play? Like maybe 2? I mean, it does cost 7. Man, this is one of those cards where, like, I want to say, but at the same time, if it sticks, I mean, you basically have a turn to deal with it in a lot of cases at that stage of the game, or 2 attacks might kill you before the poison counters do. So yeah, this is a wild card. Expand the Sphere, 3 colorless and a green for a sorcery. Oh, a lot of text here incoming, y'all. So look at the top 6 cards of your library. Put up to 2 lands from among them onto the battlefield tapped, and the rest of them on the bottom of your library in a random order. If you put fewer than 2 lands onto the battlefield this way, proliferate the number of times equal to the difference. So this is actually, I actually like this card quite a bit. Part of the reason is, one, if you're just trying to ramp up to that big 7/7 we were just talking about, right? You could go from 4 to 6, and then you play a land, and you could play, or the big 8/8 and the 7 mana thing. You'll have 7 mana if you have another land ready to go on turn 5. So that's a thing. Not saying that's the card's example of what you should be targeting, but if you want to ramp, this is a decent card for that. What I like about it, though, really, is that you could play it just to proliferate twice if you wanted to. It's like a built-in way to pump your team if you're doing +1/+1s, or get oil slick counters, or whatever it is you're aiming for, right? Like, this is actually pretty solid. And it's the type of card that works really well in Commander, right? Because there's so much in Commander where you're trying to play 6s, 7, 8 mana things, or even sometimes play 2 things on a turn, even if they're like 3 or 4 mana. And this is good late in the game. Like, let's say you don't really need the mana, but you have some counters on a card over here, and, you know, maybe you've got a Planeswalker, you want to pump the loyalty, and a bunch of different stuff going on. You could just proliferate twice, pump all those up twice, and boom, maybe that changes the game state. Or even if you've got negatives sitting on somebody else's stuff, right? You want to make them dead, right? That's a thing. Make them dead. You want to kill the creatures. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, this card has some potential. It's weird. It's weirdly subtle, but in the right build that can utilize it, could be pretty nice. All right, Gleeful Demolition. 1 red sorcery, destroy target artifact. If you controlled that artifact, create 3 1/1 red Phyrexian goblin creature tokens. This is cool. I mean, just being able to destroy an artifact for 1 mana is kind of nice anyway. It is a sorcery, but a 1 mana answer is really neat. But there's going to be so many things that happen to be artifacts. Some regular artifacts, some color artifacts, whatever. Some tokens that are also artifacts. To just be able to turn those into 3 things, boom. And if they happen to be goblins you can pump, awesome. If you just need extra things to sacrifice, maybe you need extra creatures to make one, something equal to the number of creatures in play, that type of stuff. Like, this is just a really cool, honestly, even as just a backup plan. Like, let's say your opponent sweeps the board with the Depopulate, and you've still got, I don't know, a treasure or something sitting out there. You're like, great, I'll just kill this and have 3 more bodies, right? This is an interesting card. I don't know where it belongs, but I do like just having it as an option. Malcotor, Purity Overseer, colorless, blue, white, 1/1, Phyrexian Elephant. Is that elephant? Yeah, Phyrexian Elephant Wizard. Cool. When this enters the battlefield, create a 3/3 colorless Phyrexian Golem artifact creature token. At the beginning of your end step, if 3 or more artifacts enter the battlefield under your control this turn, create another Golem. Okay. So this is a 3 mana 1/1, but it makes a 3/3. So you get 4/4 for 3 mana over 2 creatures, which isn't bad, right? It's reasonable. But if you have anything that also is going to be making artifacts, like some of all these things putting mites into play and other stuff like we've already seen, then this actually makes more of them every turn, which is kind of cool. Now, I feel like there could be a world where maybe you play this, you play the Urza that pumps artifacts, right? Gives artifact creatures +2/+2. Play some counters, play some stuff that makes the mites. There might be a little deck in here somewhere. I mean, I think these could be the beginning pieces. I have no problem with this card. It's not exciting being a 1/1, mind you. It's small, and the card itself is not an artifact, so it would not get any of those other bonuses. But it is a Phyrexian, in case that matters. So, we'll see. Noxious Assault. 3 green for a sorcery. Creatures you control get +2/+2 until end of turn. Whenever a creature blocks this turn, its controller gets a poison counter. Huh. So it's like the poison equivalent of an overrun, I guess? I mean, the problem here is that it doesn't give your creatures trample or anything, so you would need them to already have the extra ability. But if they did, this wouldn't be bad, give everything +2/+2 and then a bonus. If your opponent blocks... Actually, this is kind of just a good solid filler for the toxic decks or poison decks, right? Because if you've already gotten them to, let's say, 4 or 5, then you're attacking even with a bunch of little creatures. Like, they're forced to block or just take the damage and die either way. So this kind of just adds inevitability to those types of decks, is what I would think. I'm not sure. I don't think this is the type of card that just, say, like mono green aggro wants. But this feels like an additional tool for those other decks, so they just don't stall out. While the number of cards previewed today was actually kind of small, I actually don't mind that, because what we got seemed pretty significant. Like that T-Rex was really cool, the Silex is awesome. But more importantly, I think we saw a lot of new cards that you can kind of build around or add to other existing strategies, or kind of start closing the gaps from some cards that were underplayed or not played to be used with some of the new stuff. So I like where this is going. This is actually pretty cool. I can dig it. But yeah, if y'all want to see some other interesting stuff and you missed yesterday's previews, I'm going to link it over here so you can get caught up.